If you're looking at buying a residential property, single family home, be sure that you're not buying a money pit. And you might think, well, it's real simple. I just get a home inspection. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, and you want to do that. But more importantly, there's things that can make a property a money pit that are either beyond the scope of a home inspection, or maybe you're being asked to waive your home inspection. There's a lot of things on a house that are going to cost money, but don't make it a money pit. Look, if it needs new gutters, you might have to put on new gutters. If you want to remodel the kitchen because it has outdated appliances, that's an expense. That's not money pit. Money pit is something that's a chronic, ongoing problem with the house that can't easily be fixed. Cracked foundation, defective drainage, maybe a septic system that's failing. Those are things that are just going to be one after another. Or it could be just that everything is out of maintenance and it's going to need to be replaced one way or another. So how do you prevent that? Well, certainly a home inspection is important, but you want to make sure your inspector is looking at the right things. If they're just nitpicking every little possible improvement or repair, the sink is leaking, that's great. Fix a gasket in a sink might cost you $50, $100. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out. You want to look at things like maybe somebody added a deck that's not supported properly. Maybe the pierings in the foundations of a house doesn't have the right drainage. Maybe it's pulling up water. These are things that are easy to miss because they're not obvious. A lot of inspectors just look for minor things like the plugs work. Are they reverse polarity? They're not looking at the major structural problems of the house or the chronic deferred maintenance. If everything in the house has been left to rot, all of those small things are going to add up very quickly. Also items like, is the roof pitch proper to get the water away from the fascia boards? What we recommend doing is, instead of having a home inspector look at your house, hire 2 or 3 contractors. It's going to cost about the same. If you pay an electrical contractor and a plumbing contractor and a general contractor each to come look at that house, now you have 3 different pairs of eyes. A home inspector might cost you $1,500, $1,800, $1,200, depending on your market. If you have a general contractor and you pay him 2 hours of labor at even $200 an hour, $300 an hour, that might cost you $500 or $600. Same thing with an electrical contractor. Electrician might charge you $150 or $200 an hour. Get a couple hours of their time. Plumbing contractor might be $400 or $500 to come out and look at a house for plumbing issues. So now you have about the same total amount spent, but now you have actual active contractors in those specialized trades put their qualified experience and eyes on your house. In fact, even an electrician who's looking at your house, they might be able to pick up other things. So if you have 3 or 4 different people come in to look at your house that are experts in those fields, you may get better results than a home inspector who may be more generalized. In some states, the home inspection is not really a specialized trade. You don't need that much experience. Maybe a former employee of a building company can do it. The main thing is to look at chronic issues on the house. Maybe even having a government permit inspector come to the property. And you can do that under the premise of applying for a permit. You maybe tell the home seller, look, I want to put in a prospective or hypothetical permit for, who knows, maybe adding an electrical line, maybe adding a deck, maybe adding a shed, and have them come out to do a site evaluation. Buying a house is not only putting your $2 or $3 or $5 or $600,000 at risk, you also now are obligated for any repairs that are on the house. There's no warranty on a house. Insurance doesn't cover damage or repair, so you want to get that solid. You also want to see if your insurance company can run a clue report. A clue report is a claims history of that property. And if you're applying for insurance on a house, they're allowed to give you the results of a clue report investigation so you know what prior claims are on the house. Were there water damage claims? Were there mold claims? Any other damages on that house that might be of interest? A good contractor will also be able to look at prior repairs and upgrades to make sure they're done properly and what damage they may have uncovered when the repairs were done. Even things like the insulation in a house to see if it's been replaced or is it original to the house. And if it's replaced, that might indicate water damage or other structural damage that happened in the same area. Look, a lot of the things you can find out in an inspection, any kind of layperson with a good pair of eyes can see obvious things if you take your time and look for it. Another thing you may be able to do is take some photos and video and post them to websites that have contractors, even armchair wannabe contractors can point stuff out a lot of times that will help you observe and detect possible problems. Look, some of them might be things that people don't know what they're talking about, but at least you can ask the question. There's a lot of ways to go about it. If you're buying an older home right now, the age of homes in the U.S., resale homes, is at the oldest they've ever been in history. So you want to make sure that you're buying a house that's not going to cost you more than you expected just for your mortgage, tax, and insurance. If you're shelling out another $10,000 or $20,000 a year for repairs, that might put a dent in your budget.